Yeah, we bring reviews of your house, talk to our dudes of your house. I bring my views of your house, wrestling truths of your house. We talk to you in your house, we keeps it cool in your house, we keeps it cool in your house. I'm spitting truths in your house. Yeah. Mark's hating on his fans, Becky's niche on the man. Play with two like a lion, household a dangerous alliance. I am an army like Cody, and I'm overcoming like Kobe. No, they cannot hold me. Come listen, I'm hosting, critiquing, I'm boasting. This wrestling I'm knowing. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to In Your House, starring Alakan House and my man, Michael Hutchison. That's Mikey Hutch. This is the People's Podcast. Hey guys, you already know who it is. It's your boys, Con and Hutch, ready to give you that work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. That is what we do, and hey, we love it. So let me let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's all right. We're on Google Play. Anywhere that you guys are, hey, we can get to you. And oh yes, look at the clock, because last time that I checked, In Your House was the hottest professional wrestling podcast in the Midwest, because we bringing that work, and we're coming for all the smoke. And you already know what it is. It is a wonderful Sunday morning. I got my man Hutch in the building. How you doing, bro?
Yo, doing great, man. It's awesome to be here on this lovely, we're recording this on a lovely, dreary Sunday morning.
Yeah,
man. And doing great, man. Ready to leave the household woke like an alarm clock, like we always do.
Yes, sir. And you know, man, we talk a lot about it here, and one thing that In Your House is so good at, and that we're known for, and 14 different countries across these great United States and locally right here in Indiana, and 20,000 followers on Facebook. Holla at the household. One thing that we're good at, and that people listen to us, is that we cover all aspects of the professional wrestling business, bro.
Everything, because I mean, we just love this business, and we know, I mean, if it wasn't for the talent in the ring, we'd have nothing.
Right.
But it's not just the talent in the ring. There's a lot of pieces in that machine, man, that makes this art that we love. Yeah. I mean, you got your camera crew, you got your photographers, you got your ring announcers, you have your commentators. I mean, there's so many different pieces of the proverbial puzzle that comes together to make this masterpiece of art that we love, you know. So
big facts.
So yeah, man.
And with that being said, man, I once again, we've talked about it a lot on the show, and I have to call back to it. Recently, we went to a show. We went to Bizarro Lucha just a few weeks ago, bro.
Yes, we did. And man, I just go back and listen to, you know, our discussions on it. But again, just to briefly summarize, I've still, I mean, just looking back on it in hindsight, I've never experienced anything like I experienced that night at that show.
That's
and
correct.
I've been watching wrestling since, I mean, I was like 3 years old, man. Yeah. And, you know, I'm not going to get into how many times I've been around the sun, but I've been around that bad boy a few times. So I've seen a lot of things in wrestling, and I've been to a lot of live shows, and still Bizarro Lucha was just such a unique flavor, and I loved it. Love it.
Yeah. Yes, man. Yes, and I agree with that. And one thing that we talked about we talked about big time when it came to that show. One of the biggest things was just how it was. What do you say at the end of every show? We are one, and that show personified that. You know what I mean?
It encompassed that because, as I said, I'm not going to sit here and throw out labels. People are what they are. It doesn't matter. You're just you. But there was such a diverse crowd there. Yeah. And kind of like I alluded to, like we kind of felt like outsiders for a second.
Yeah.
But they didn't make us feel like outsiders. They let us in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, they didn't judge us. There was no pendulums of judgment being swung anywhere. We are one. We were one that night. And I loved it. And I got to get back there.
Yeah. No doubt, bro. No doubt, bro. With that being said, we were able to acquire a guest that was there. She was there, and she not only is a photographer, she's also a ring announcer and an advocate for inclusivity and diversity in wrestling. And that's Sarah Rose. How you doing?
I am fantastic. Thanks. How are you guys?
Doing great. Appreciate you taking time to come on the show.
It's no problem at all. It's a slow Sunday today for me, so I'm glad I had the time.
Absolutely. And it was great to have the opportunity to bring you on the show. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you were at Bizarro Lucha, were you not?
Yes, I was. I've been to quite a few of the shows recently, and I absolutely love them.
Oh, yes. I was really digging that vibe. And we'll get more into that and what it stood for and what you stand for. But we'll go ahead and ask you questions. It'll be me and then Hutch, and I'm going to start it out. And this is a question that I always love to ask because I love to understand the psyche of people, where they came from and how they came here to wrestling. And I want to ask you this, Sarah. My first question is, what started this? How did you get into professional wrestling as far as interest? Not how you got in the business, but as far as just an interest.
Well, back in like 4th grade, my mom got me a Stone Cold Steve Austin skateboard for Christmas.
Okay.
And I was like,
nice.
All right. I was like, hell yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And then I had like an Attitude Era game for PlayStation.
Yeah.
I don't really ever remember watching too much of it on TV, but I still had like that fascination with those other 2 items.
No doubt.
And then probably like 6 years ago, my interest in watching wrestling just peaked and has been like nonstop ever since. And I feel like I have so much to catch up on, like from my youth, from, way back in the day. There's just like so much wrestling. And then there's even more now. So, but never really, like I said, watched it as a child, which I'm really bummed about. But recently got more into it about 6-7 years ago.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
That is interesting, man. That is interesting.
That's a very interesting spot to be in because, as you alluded to, there is, and not to make you feel bad for missing it, because again, your journey is your journey, but wow, there is so much to experience, and like I'm envious because you're in a spot where you can experience that for the first time.
Big
and I remember how it was at that time, and again, it's just wrestling is an addiction for me, man. I love it.
No doubt, bro. No doubt. So I'll go ahead and throw it over to Hutch, man. Go ahead and toss your next question out for Sarah Rose.
Yeah, I got an interesting question because as far as because again, I kind of got caught up on your background and kind of what you do in regards to doing the photography. And correct me if I'm wrong, you do some ring announcing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep. Those are like the 2 main things that I do. Yeah.
Awesome. So, like, say if for our listeners out there, if somebody wanted to say get that kind of spot, get that kind of gig, like, what path would you recommend that they take to get there? Like, how did you acquire those positions?
Oh God. It's so hard. I mean, I got it. So I started off as a fan, and a friend of mine, just started taking me to the these local shows around here. Like there's a place called PWCS, and of course there's St. Louis Anarchy, and those are the two first indie shows that I ever went to. And I hesitated taking my camera with me for the longest time because I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know anything about it. So eventually, once I started going to Anarchy, I eventually started taking my camera and taking pictures from my seat, and then people kind of started to get to know me more. I eventually got to start shooting ringside for PWCS, and then it's just kind of like escalated from there. And I put out a Facebook status like 3 years ago that was like, oh, I'd love to be more involved. I don't know how, like ring announcing something, blah, blah, blah. I was naive. I was just like talking out my ass. And then I get a message from I get a message from Matt Jackson, formerly known as Pierre Abernathy. And he runs St. Louis Anarchy. And he's like, hey, do you want to ring announce for us? And I was like, yeah.
Let me think about it. Okay.
I was like, sure. And he's like, oh, like, we'll train you and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, sick. It shouldn't be too hard.
Right.
But so I feel like I just kind of got really lucky. I don't know, how other people have kind of gotten in, but I think it's good to just kind of, if you are a photographer and you'd like to shoot shows, you just ask around and find out who the promoter is. Maybe like try and like work out a deal, be like, hey, because like obviously like wrestling is a carny business, like everyone knows this, and there's not a lot of money in wrestling until you get like AEW and higher level stuff like that. But there's still a little bit of money. But like I think it'd be good if you're a photographer and you're like, hey, I'd love to shoot this show, and you'd want to put it out there that you would do the first one for free. And then maybe, if you can build that relationship, then there can be money, down the road, obviously, because being a photographer isn't easy. I went to school for it. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's just like any other profession where you deserve that you're putting yourself out there. It's your artwork. It's your, your time, especially to go back and edit, so you definitely still deserve some money for it. But it would be definitely good to just throw out there like, hey, I'll shoot this show for free. And then hopefully, like something can build from there. And like, even with like, if you're like, you do video work or anything else, just throw it out there and be like, just, you got to meet the right people. You got to be, open and willing to anything and everything. 'Cause the wrestling business is insane.
Boy, that's a shoot.
That's no lie. That's no lie for sure. For sure. So, but now here you are, shooting, ring announcing, just, just being awesome, and it's real cool. And like I said, like I alluded to, earlier, we went to Bizarro Lucha, and one of the big things about Bizarro Lucha was the inclusiveness and how everybody was accepted, and you're kind of an advocate for that. Could you kind of expand on basically what your beliefs are as far as equality and inclusiveness and diversity, maybe not just in professional wrestling, but just in life?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm very open about everything, and I am a queer pansexual woman. My pronouns are pretty much anything. I'm not against, they, them, or she, her. It's, it's all out there. But I feel that with the platform that I have, that is so important that anyone and everyone feels welcome, because obviously we know where wrestling has come from. We know where, the world in general has come from back in the day of, people more so being closeted back in the day. And if you were different, you were shunned and looked down upon, and, things were just like so different back in the day, that I love now that things are more commonly known and people are more out there about everything, that it's important that everyone is on the same page, and that we make sure to educate everyone, not only in wrestling, but in our daily lives in general.
No doubt. I agree with that. And that's the vibe that me and Hutch was feeling when we was there at Bizarro Lucha. I've been to a lot of wrestling shows, so many wrestling shows, MLW, Ring of Honor, of course, WWE, and so on and so forth. But when I went to Bizarro Lucha, I felt like, man, these, not only are these passionate wrestling fans, but it's people from all different race, creeds, backgrounds, preferences. It was insane, and I absolutely loved it. Hutch says something on the show all the time, and it's a creed for the show, and it's "We are one." And man, we really felt that night, Hutch. Ain't that right?
Well, yeah, absolutely, and that is a creed that I know that I want to instill in wrestling, because not just in wrestling but in life, there's always this divide. Yeah. There's always this divide, and then with divide comes judgment and that kind of thing. And again, that's why I just try to preach that whole "we are one" thing, because again, it's just stop sweating it, man. Like it's okay to have a difference of opinion. It's okay, but don't sprout hate. Don't spout hate. Don't spout intolerance. Let people live their lives. And as far as the cause that that she alluded to, and again, it goes with that as well. Just let people live their lives. Love is universal. Love is blind when it comes to that. Love don't have labels. Yeah. Hell, we're getting into a whole other tangent for a whole other show here. But
you're right, bro. You're right, bro.
But it's like, to touch on something here, it's like you got Nyla Rose. Yeah. Right? Yeah. In AEW. I love what she's doing.
Me too.
I love what they're doing with her. But then you tumble down, and I always make this mistake of tumbling down the comments, the rabbit hole, the comment threads. And my God, there's just such vile toxicity thrown at her.
It's disgusting, bro.
It's just gross. It's just gross. And that kind of shit could be stopped in one generation. I'll just leave it at that. Just try to love more. Just be more tolerant, people. Come on.
Be kinder, man. Just be kinder. It's not that hard to be kind. You know what I mean? It don't cost you a bitch-ass thing.
Exactly.
So moving right along, we're talking to Sarah Rose here on a Sunday morning, but when you guys listen to this, it will be Monday morning at 6 a.m. So when you guys are driving the kids to school, or maybe you're just driving to work, put in your house, in your ears, as we are talking to Sarah Rose. So the next question that I want to ask is professional wrestling really has evolved. It's evolved in a big way. And I was having a conversation with somebody at my job. They would come in and they're open about their preferences and everything. And I was kind of telling him about professional wrestling and how it's changed, because last time that he had watched it, it was just a bunch of oiled up guys in their underwear saying, "I'm gonna fight you and I'm gonna fight you." He hadn't realized that there was people out there like Sonny Kiss, like Nyla Rose, people over the years like Chris Kanyon, and Chris Kanyon, we all know how that, man, it was sad about Chris Kanyon. So let me ask you this, Sarah. With the inclusiveness that wrestling is experiencing, do you think that could be the future of professional wrestling? Do you think that that's where we're going as a community of fans of professional wrestling?
I do think that. I think that for the world in general, for the most part, but in wrestling, yes, absolutely, because we've come so far already. Yeah. It's gonna be slow, and it's gonna take time. Yeah. Just because there's so much to learn about gender and lack thereof, and people's preferences and what's right and what's wrong, and there's just so much, because I myself am still learning. And it's definitely something I touched on my last podcast episode that I did for myself, which we recorded after the Bizarro show, and I had to kind of touch on some issues that came up regarding Bizarro, and something that regarded Shotzi and this and that, and basically everything that it is we just have to educate, and us in the LGBTQ community have to find ways to educate everyone else that doesn't come off as attacking them. That comes off as, yes, we want to educate you, yes, we want everyone to move forward, we all want to be on the same page, and we want to know what's right and what's wrong, but it's going to take time. It is going to take so much time, but I feel that yes, we are headed in a very positive direction for even more inclusivity in wrestling for the future.
Oh no, absolutely. I think so too. That's kind of, I figured you might say that, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I think we are moving in the right direction. Even with the, I know myself and Hutch as well. When we saw the match with Shotsky, I'll say this: I haven't seen a whole lot of. In fact, I've never seen intergender wrestling that close up before. I've seen, you see it on TV and on the internet and stuff like that, but I've never seen it that close. And some of it was like, wow, it's alarming to see it that close. But I also understand from the spectrum that women want to be looked at as equals and that they can do just as much as a man can do in the ring. And when I look at it from that perspective, from that scope, I feel it and I dig it because I think Shotsky's a badass. And she could go in the ring with any guy, I believe. I do believe so. I understand why we're heading where we're heading, and I like where it's going. So I'm going to throw it over to Hutchman, and you go ahead and ask anything that you want to ask to Sarah Rose.
Well, before I get to my next question, just to kind of add on to what you said in regards to that Shotzi match, and the whole intergender wrestling thing, there was moments of that match where just as it was a bit unsettling, but I credit that to the level of work that those two were able to perform.
Yeah, because
they made it, I guess you say they made it look good, so to speak. The story that they told was fantastic, and I say that with the right story in the right place. You look at Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan.
Yeah,
what they did in Impact. That was gold. Like they're in the right context with the right story. Absolutely, I think there's a place for it. Anyways, my next question. With when you're not killing it doing the photography and the ring announcing and stuff in the wrestling business, what do you do in your spare time? Do you play video games at all? Watch movies? Like, what do you like to do?
So I'm actually into powerlifting.
Interesting.
So that takes up my time.
Interesting.
So that's pretty much like my main focus outside of wrestling, and when I'm not at work is I do a lot of powerlifting.
Nice. Okay. I'm with that. See, I can't mess with that again. I feel like if I did that, I'd break half. So much respect to you on that.
Man, for real, me and you stand next to each other, we look like the number 11, bro.
We really do. We really do.
Black and white number 11. What's happening? Like,
absolutely.
No
we
doubt,
we get one of our round friends between us. We look like binary code. But
yeah, man, I don't know anything about that, man. So big ups to you. Big ups to you for that. And man, even just came to me. How come I wasn't that triggered by China and Jeff Jarrett, bro?
Because again, it boils down to the story that's being told, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that's what it boils down to. It's not about is this a man or a woman? Are they good performers and are they telling a good story?
Big fact.
That's what it boils down to. And if it just happens to be a man and a woman, so be it.
Hey, that's how it goes down. If it goes down how it goes down, bro. And I think this conversation is going down pretty well. So I'm gonna move it right along here. And let me ask you this, Sarah. As far as your career and what you've done in your time in the professional wrestling business and everything that you've done for equality and everything, I want to ask this. In wrestling, in the business, who are some of your biggest influences, maybe mentors, people that inspired you to get in the professional wrestling business, and maybe people that you met when you were already in that have kind of, mentored you and been somebody for you to look up to, you know what I mean?
I don't think that there is really anyone inspired me like beforehand, but yeah. I literally have just met so many people in the 3 years that I've been working in the business that it just blows my mind how kind and caring people are and how easily people have taken me under their wing. Kirby, who ring announces for Freelance and other Chicago area places, he's taken me under his wing because I stepped in for him at Black Label Pro. Mr. Bizarro has been an absolute gem to become friends with.
Yeah.
Mark Adam Haggerty, who does Chikara and a ton of East Coast wrestling stuff, has also been there for me, and just countless other people, wrestlers, other photographers, just there's so many people that I can't even begin to name them all, but I love them all so much, and I'm so thankful for anything that anyone has ever instilled in me.
That's awesome. It's always good. It's always good to meet people that have your best interest in mind. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
It's always a good, because you meet, you know, I know in my life personally, I've ran into some stinkers as far as people, you know what I mean? Like people that they're just, you know, not solid and don't have your best interest in mind. But from what I've experienced, for the most part in professional wrestling, is that a lot of people are really, really kind. And Hutch, you got anything else, man?
I always love asking this question anytime I get a chance to have the honor of being on interviews on the In Your House show here, like we are today. As we've alluded to, wrestling is a crazy, insane business. You know, there's all kinds of hijinks and chicanery that happens.
Oh yeah.
And in your time that you've been, you know, working in wrestling, what would you say? You know, because, you know, there's always some interesting things that happen in the ring, but the crazy stuff is what happens outside of the ring and on the road.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any interesting road stories? What's some of the craziest stuff that you've seen pertaining to the wrestling business that you can tell?
Oh man.
Oh boy.
I don't know. I don't feel like I've had anything that crazy happen. I have a lot of good, like, set carloads that I'm with all the time, and we all just get along, like, really well, and just the conversations that we have and the things that we say, like, in the car are just bizarre and, like, completely from left field.
Relatable.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Nothing's coming straight to mind right now.
Nothing that she could tell, Hutch. Nothing that she could tell us.
Yeah, I think she's working us a little bit. She's like,
I know.
It's
a little bit of, it feels like a little bit of a work.
Like, I feel like we were told we'd end up disappearing, the show would be canceled.
I know, right? Where did Con and Hutch go? Don't worry about it.
Right.
Oh man. So we can, you know, we can move right along, since you know that there's some secrecy there. I understand that. Got to keep those secrets. But what's some of the craziest things that you've seen in the ring as a photographer and also as a ring announcer and just as a spectator, period?
Well, some of the craziest things that have happened to me, well, just Friday night at St. Louis Anarchy, which is already up for on-demand viewing pleasures on Independent Wrestling TV.
Okay.
Our show Friday night, we had Nick Gage versus the Warhorse. And Nick Gage, as I was introducing Warhorse, goes after him, pulls a move on him, and gets in my face and tells me to stay in the ring. And it's Nick Gage, so I'm going to fucking listen, of course. So, oh my God. So I'm standing there just in complete shock. I'm just completely frozen. And he takes him, he does another move to him, and then he, like, whips him at me. And I didn't know what to do, but I, like, got out of the way just in time as Warhorse hit the ropes that were right behind me. That was crazy. There was a time at Black Label Pro where Eric Ryan and Marcus Crane had a tag match against the production, and it got crazy. And there was a metal trash can, and it was after the match, and Eric Ryan chucks this trash can, and it comes right at me. So I was in the right place at the wrong time, and and like you can kind of see it, like on it's up for on demand, and I have a GIF of it actually, and you can just see me scurrying off as fast as possible. At Black Label, I've also had a lot of crazy instances where Kevin Koo hated my step stool, and he would attack it all the time and beat it up. And there was a time where he literally tossed it in the ring, and it like almost hit me, but it just like grazed me, and it was pretty funny. And then he came for my step stool in the middle of a match, and we were doing like a tug of war over it, and he knocks me down and takes my step stool and hits, I think it was when he was wrestling Gary J, and hits Gary with it. So that's been pretty crazy. As a photographer, I've been in the right place at the wrong time, and there's been like run-ins that I didn't know were happening, and I have to get like pushed out of the way. And one time at Glory Pro, Kurt Stallion, I don't remember who he was wrestling, but he like made me Irish whip him into someone, and I'm like, I don't wanna. And then Kurt yelled at me and said, just do it. And I was like, all right. All right. So those are like a few things that like come to mind, but
awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Life is crazy. It comes at you fast.
Oh yes,
man, there it is.
No doubt.
Or the war horse, or trash cans come at you fast. Whatever.
Hey, whichever one,
It'd be like that sometimes.
Oh, it'd be like that sometimes, no doubt.
I'd be like that.
Man, oh man, having a great conversation here with Sarah Rose. Once again, when you guys listen to this, it will be 6 a.m. Monday morning. Hutch, anything that you want to add, bro?
I think we pretty much covered every base here. I believe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a great conversation. Sarah, you've been just a pleasure to have on the show and hear about your career and some of your crazy stories and just everything that you stand for, because I can say this, and I know I can speak for the whole team, myself and in your house, we back you 100% on your beliefs, and if there's anything that we can do to help you, just let us know.
Cool, thank you.
Oh, no problem at all. And we're going to give her a first opportunity. We're going to give that helping hand out for the first time here, Hutch. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to give her the opportunity and the floor to promote anything that you want to promote to the 20,000 followers on Facebook, to the 14 different countries across these great United States and locally right here in Indiana. This is your floor, Sarah Rose, to plug anything that you want to plug. So go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Oh, geez. So first and foremost, shout out to Independent Wrestling TV, of which I am now a VJ representative of. So shout out to them. Download the app on iPhone and Android. It's sick as hell. Use code STEPSTOOL for 20 free days. If for some reason you're not signed up already, or if you have friends that need to sign up, take advantage of that, because independent wrestling is the coolest streaming thing out there right now. There's so much, and us VJs are trying to do fun and crazy things coming up, so be on the lookout for that. Shout out to my podcast. It's Evolution Baby. You can find us on Twitter at It's Evolution Pod.
Yep.
We focus on women's wrestling with inclusivity and diversity all tangled in there. So pretty much anyone that is not a cis male wrestler is a focus for us, which is amazing, and I love it. Shout out to my Twitter, Stepstool Sarah X. I'm a great Twitter follow. It's real fun. Yeah. I say dumb stuff all the time. It's the best, and people like it. I don't know why.
Relatable.
Shout out to St. Louis Anarchy, which is my home, my heart, and my soul. STO Anarchy on Twitter and all other social media. Shout out to Black Label Pro. Shout out to Bizarro Lucha, Freelance Underground, Southern Underground Pro, Journey Pro in Kansas City. Shout out to the Gymnasty Boys who let me valet them,
hey.
which has been fun. Yeah, and I think that's all I got.
Definitely. Hey, I want to ask you, as far as your podcast, can they get it on Apple or Spotify or anything like that?
Yeah, so it's available on all podcast platforms. So wherever you listen to your podcasts, we should be there.
Dope. I just wanted to make sure that they know so they can go check it out, listen to it, and you know it, and just give you a subscription and help support. You know what I mean?
Right. Thank you.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate you taking your valuable time to come on, and Sarah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. I've had a blast.
Great. Absolutely. And Hutch, man, now it is your time to plug your social medias, bro. So you go ahead and plug, bro.
Well, thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much, Sarah, for taking the time to be on our show. It's been awesome talking with you, and hope to have you back on soon.
Absolutely.
And yeah, as far as my social media goes, I have two things here. I got the Twitter that I'm doing my best to not neglect. As I've alluded to before, you can follow me at Hutch, IYH. Give me a follow. Let me know what you did. And you can also follow me on the Instagram. I'm up to 57 sippers of the Kool-Aid now. So
you're getting there, bro. You're getting there.
Not bad for only started like a month and a half ago. So
you working, bro. You working.
So yes, sir. So yeah, you guys can give me a follow on the Instagram at Hutch in your house, and that's spelled just like the show. And you know what we always say here, regardless of what you watch, be it WWE, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, it doesn't matter. And just to kind of touch on what we alluded to here today in Miss Sarah's cause, whatever pronoun you want to call yourself, well, whoever it is you decide to be with, we are one. We are Legion. We are wrestling. We are one. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great week. We'll catch you next time.
We are one. One of the great slogans of this show from my man, Mikey Hutch. And this was a fantastic episode. Can't wait for you guys to check it out with my man Hutch and photographer and ring announcer Sarah Rose. Check out her podcast. That's Evolution, baby. And this made for a great episode. But hey, that's just what we do here at In Your House. We put in now work. So let me let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's all right. We're on Google Play. Anywhere that you guys are, hey, we can get to you. Check us out October 5th, Heroes and Legends 13, Fort Wayne, Indiana. We are the official podcast of the entire event, and if you can't make it, but we really hope that you make it, you can check it out on Fight TV with your boy, the Status Symbol, Con House, and the Golden Ticket. Jason St. on commentary. Guys, what are you doing? Buy a freaking shirt. That's www.prowrestlingtees.com/inyourhouse. Get this work. Get this shirt. Guys, we tell you this all the time. Hop on this bandwagon. Get on or get gone. Because the household, well, we going strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.